Good morning. Welcome to Monday Morning Quarters Back. My name is UltraDavid. Thanks for joining us here on the field for the pregame show. So we're going to be talking today about yesterday's CPT Online NA West. That's what we'll be taking a look at. A lot of great matches in that for Street Fighter V. People didn't watch it yesterday and the day before on Saturday as well. There was a lot of really great stuff. Some super great matches all around. But I felt that the most interesting ones were Samurai versus Nephew, and then Nephew versus Samurai. They had a fantastic back and forth. So the end result is that Nephew is the champion, Samurai is second place. Second place doesn't matter, right, in these contexts. Only first place gets into Capcom Cup, second place doesn't get anything at all, neither does third place. You know, it's only first place. So the matches that they had, very back and forth. You know, at the beginning, one of them jumped out to a big lead, then the other one made a comeback, then the other one in the second set that they had jumped out to a lead, then the other one had a big comeback. How did they make these comebacks, right? That's what I think is very interesting to know. It's not like this is the first time that these players have played each other, right? So this is not like it's a case of, okay, first impression, you know, we're from opposite sides of the world, we've never played before, here's how it goes in the first two games. Then, you know, it's not a first impression sort of situation. They were playing from the same apartment, okay? The story was that Samurai doesn't live with Nephew, but Nephew and Punk live together, and they all live in the Bay Area, and the Bay Area had some really bad weather over the weekend. And Samurai lost power where he lived. And so he put out the word, can anybody give me a spot where I can play? You know, he had made top 8, and ended up being that it was Nephew and Punk who offered their spot. So they were in fact playing from the same place. Now, they probably didn't play before this top 8, right? That wouldn't make sense because they were matched up against each other, but I'm sure that they played in the past. So how is it that in that context, somebody jumps out to a 2-0 lead, somebody then makes the 3-2 comeback? What changes, you know? What do the players do that's so different, that changes stuff? I think that's a very interesting question to try to answer. To do that, we're going to be looking back at the match videos, and for analysis, let's go upstairs to the press box where UltraDavid will have the call. Thanks a lot, David. Yeah, I think this is going to be really cool to look at. I want to, in particular, pay attention to a few things. Same sort of things that we're often paying attention to, right? What's the spacing? What are the timings of options? Who's very patient? Who's impatient? Who maybe changes from being very patient to being maybe not impatient, but more pressure heavy, more active, right? These kinds of sort of timings and positioning changes are the stuff that I tend to want to look at in fighting games when I'm analyzing that sort of stuff. And that's what I'm going to be looking at today. So we're going to hop into the video very shortly. This was James, Chen, and Ringe on the call. So I'm going to have it sort of down in the volume. And let me know if the volume's okay. You know, I wouldn't mind if you heard them. They did a good job. But, you know, let me know if they're a little bit too loud as we hop in to the game. It's James. And it's Ringe. All right. Well, again, let's see how this starts. Just briefly, Colleen versus Akuma is a matchup between two of the strongest characters in the game. Tons of different options. The ability to play fast or slow. The ability to pressure a lot. The ability to back off a lot. The ability to mix up very trickily, or the ability to do whatever, more or less, right? It's very different between these things. Oh, by the way, I haven't actually set that stuff up, King Fasuki. My bad. I really tried over the weekend, and it turns out that part of the problem may actually have been a software update recently that one of these programs has had, so the chat commands are not going to work. Yeah, it's a bummer. I really want to get that stuff going. Haven't yet. By the way, also thanks to the sub. I'm going to say Marty123. Nathan hasn't popped in yet, but he'll be there shortly. So again, two characters who are very strong, lots of different options. That means that the players get to play them in any number of different ways that they want to, and that means that we're going to get to take a look at these guys in multiple different ways of playing it. Let's do it.
Well, I just imagine right now, you know, Nephew is going to be probably playing in his room, Samurai's playing in the other room.
Yeah, I don't know what their physical arrangement was when they were playing in this match.
And poking him all day, you know, try to get his roommate a victory. We'll see how it goes. We're gonna
Of course, Punk, who lives with Nephew, had a bit of trash talk before this match actually began against Samurai. So, you know, I mean, they're all friendly in real life, but I think that kind of stuff is pretty funny. Here's the thing to look at right off the bat. Samurai pressed some buttons at the beginning, but then was very patient. Did you notice how he walked himself to the corner? That was 15 seconds in. It was very slow. He tried it once or twice, but in general, you'll notice that he's not doing a lot, right? He's being pretty patient here.
While Samurai gonna mainly be fishing for that crouch medium kick into a hit confirm from this distance, mainly playing the fireball game. But you see, he's already thrown a lot of fireballs, so instead, starting to buffer with the stand medium kick, maybe look for some anti-airs.
A little bit more pressure from him. In the meantime, to talk about Nephew briefly, Nephew has been, I would say, mostly playing according to what Samurai has let him play. You know, he's been, sure, he'll pressure if Samurai's gonna let him pressure. If Samurai wants to slow down, that's no big deal either. So both of these players, I think, are this is the feel-out game. Feel-out round even, maybe. And again, it's not like they've never played before. This is not some first impression sort of situation. But still, it's a new set, and it's very common for players to come into top-level sets like this, especially at the beginning of a top 8 when they know that they're going to play against each other, having, you know, game planned a little bit more. The last Monday morning quarterback course we looked at was Kaba versus Mena, and those players have played 100,000 times. I don't know. And yet, Kaba was still able to do new stuff. So that does happen. It was a very slow round. It was a very slow round. And Nephew, in that time, again, I think the best description of the style that he used was that he sort of took what Samurai was willing to give. And Samurai was willing to give space, and Samurai was willing to give time. It was pretty slow. I mean, you saw what the timer ended up as, right?
Play super patient. He's willing to time out anybody. So Punk knows this, and I'm sure he's talked to Nephew about this, and some Nephew's aware of this. So might even be trying to take it.
So look at this beginning of the second round. Do you see this? Do you see? Well, I'm not going to go back quite yet. We'll wait until the match is over. But boy, Samurai began that round by going a little bit faster, didn't he? And now all of a sudden Nephew is returning the favor. Okay, dash. Lots of little plus frame buttons in here. Okay, what a call out on timing. That's a punish for sure. So, all right, we've seen a couple different looks from Samurai now, haven't we? We've seen that first round in which Samurai was mostly pretty slow, right? The time went to 5 seconds on the clock. Oop, that shouldn't be happening. So, okay, the slow play. The sort of threat of slow play in the first 5 seconds, and then much more active. Buttons, EX, tried it out. And it felt like, to me, Nephew's response to that was, oh, okay, you're going to turn on the juice a little bit? Well, here's the big time juice. And with just a few things, of course, this is so much damage and stun, and Akuma just doesn't have much life. There's really only a few guesses that he can make defensively. Samurai didn't make the right ones. And that's certainly a thing that both characters can do. They're both explosive, but Akuma doesn't have as much life, doesn't have as much stun bar. He can definitely go down fast. Yeah, EX parry is a billion damage. A billion. I don't know. A billion damage.
Samurai has a little bit of ability to adjust here, but so far Nephew doing a good job.
So, okay, in the second game now, it's 1-0 Nephew. Let's see how they play any differently. Remember, at the end of that last one, it felt like Nephew was speeding things up a little bit.
Definitely a good start from Nephew, but as you said, 3 out of 5, right? So Samurai's got some games to kind of download, adjust his game plan.
Okay. Waited for the roundhouse and walked in for the whiff punish.
Nice. Yeah, punishes that fireball at close range. They're too close for that.
Ooh, that actually sucks. Okay. Bummer. I can't believe I'm saying that about Akuma of all characters. Dang, this movement. Yeah, it's very hard for any character to deal with this sort of stuff. Any player to deal with that sort of stuff. So fast. She can suddenly move so quickly. And for Akuma, again, there's just not many guesses that he can make wrong. If he gets touched right now, you know, if he gets, well, certainly it's grab or hit now will kill him. Samurai is got his back to the corner. You know, he's setting up these shields. These are not sort of offensive tools, right? These are, I'm hoping that Nephew dashes in at the wrong time. I'm hoping that Nephew makes the wrong call. It's not really like about approaching himself, and trigger's already gone. So now he's got 30 seconds on the clock to make this life lead go back. Yeah, this is actually hilarious. Okay, so it could be that Samurai is the biggest genius in the world and did crouching medium kick, nothing, expected Nephew to go for the whiff punish, and then Samurai did his super. It could be. It could be. But, you know, for sure, it's crouching medium kick. He's trying to buffer into fireball super, and he just didn't quite work out as he had planned, I think. But it does work out. So the round that Samurai has won so far is a round that didn't really even go to plan. It wasn't really intended on his part.
Exactly as planned.
So at this point, he has one round on the board out of the game and a half that they've played, and the one that he won was that kind of funky end. You can really see him sort of looking for the timing and placings to put anything. Great timing to jump out for sure.
I just picture right now with Samurai yelling down the hall, I totally did that on purpose.
I like that a lot, to try to cage, right? He can really take advantage of the situation. Maybe went in a little bit too hard. And keep in mind, you know, in his brain, sort of running commentary there, he has tried to play slowly, he tried to play fast, and then it felt like Nephew did a better job. And now, I mean, should he even be pressuring in the corner in the same kind of way that he was trying to? Because Nephew ended up getting out. Really trying to just look for those situations. What can he take advantage of against Nephew? What will Nephew let him get away with? Because it's really felt like Nephew has had control in most of the situation here. Wow, to get hit by crouching strong and then to press your fierce just in case is nice. And again, not too many defensive choices to be made for Akuma. He's got great options, of course. 3-frame button, invincible DP. You just don't get that many to make before you die. So it's 2-0. And at this point, this is winners semis. Oop, hold on. This is winners semis. So winner, this goes into winners finals. This is a big one. This is a big one. Do you have to make it through multiple rounds of losers to get to the grand finals, or do you just, you have one more match after this to make grand finals? Big difference. So what can Samurai do differently? You know, we've seen slow play. We saw him briefly try fast play, and it felt like Nephew did a better job. He's tried to pressure in the corner. Nephew's gotten out.
Now, yeah, Samurai gonna try to work this fireball game a little bit more. It had been working out for him in previous rounds.
Well, okay. He's certainly dashing a little bit more, right? And not just up, but backwards as well. There's more buttons for sure right now.
Like Colleen, nice empty jump off of the
isn't this considerably more active? Look at the style he's using now. EX Fireball right there once he had the corner. Keep in mind, that was not point blank. That was at a little bit of a distance. So even that right there was not the same place, and not the same timing, definitely, that he had pressured in the corner in the previous game.
We've always talked about his mental fortitude and how much he studies sports psychology and applies it to fighting games. Another great whip punish there with the stand medium kick. And you know a person like that is not going to go quietly into the night. They're going to make sure they maintain their composure and still bring this back, even if it's 2-0. Right now, though, Nephew.
Well, he was playing faster last round, and now Samurai again with the little mix-up in his timings and which options he's willing to use. Look at that! Did you see the movement by Samurai to walk just outside of that range right before it happened? Really playing with his positioning, making it hard for Nephew to know where he's going to be. And to make somebody like Nephew whiff that, I think is a pretty impressive feat.
Trigger activated. This is where
that said, again, you're 2 mix-ups away from death as Akuma versus Colleen.
Very nice to have for Colleen, especially how good this V trigger is.
Yeah, an extremely potent V.
Samurai slowing it down again, and to Nephew's credit, even though he needs to make a life lead happen, he's not going overly hard either. So both of them really respecting, there's such a slight life lead right now for Samurai that they know that it can fall apart either way really fast. Ooh, that was too far. Actually an error by Nephew maybe? Okay, when I saw that, that was so smart. Oh my god, what a genius. And then ends up getting the round. So here's the situation, right? We've seen now Samurai. We go back through this. Look at the life lead now, 56, 61, 66. All that time. The damage that Samurai did against Nephew all happened in like the first 20-ish seconds. You know, if you sort of look at the life bar here, I mean, Samurai, right, the whiff punish, the pressure, the moving in, the fireballs from pretty close range, walking his opponent back.
And still bring this back even if it's 2-0. Right now though, Nephew has looked so excellent.
Definitely been much more active, and the fact that he's now throwing fireballs more is also making it so Nephew's trying to jump in, getting anti-aired.
Right now though, Nephew has looked so excellent.
Right, that fireball is the bait that then Nephew jumps over because that walking backwards, thank you to back walk speed for Akuma. Getting out of range of that thing, very few characters could have walked away from.
And comes back in with the vanity step.
All right, so much slower play, really slow stuff. Samurai, very little damage other than that. Here's the situation at this point. So Samurai, after this grab, right, fierce, activate, medium, fireball. If Samurai does another medium or whatever button, right, a medium or a heavy, into fireball, into super, it's probably the chip kill at this situation. And there's no V reversal on Nephew's side, so that's not something that he can escape. He has one chance, and that's to make it so that his EX counters the right level. Let's go forward briefly here. Look at this. And it was called out correctly. If instead this had been Samurai going with the low, it would have been a different story. Right? If this had been crouching short, whatever. But Nephew, it's a 50-50 in this kind of literal sense, right? Oh, wrong one.
I think Samurai was actually trying to tech that throw.
This is an intended chip mix-up setup right here, and Nephew guessed right on which level of the counter to bring out, and he was right. It was just a 50-50. So pretty sick read by him. You can see the damage on that thing, and that's the round for him. So he now is at match point.
Nephew has been working these throws over and over again. Has recognized Samurai, willing to not press something big. He doesn't want to give Nephew any significant hits, but because of that, he's just been getting thrown to death.
This is dangerous now.
So Samurai has tried these different rhythms, different pressure timings, and he's been close in rounds. He's won a couple of rounds, but he's still down to Nephew's match point.
Been a good start, but it's all nullified.
You know, he's in the corner at this point. Ugh, wow. First of all, amazing to do the EX on fire, almost get the stun.
Wakes up with a button showing no fear in the face of.
Okay, so Samurai, right? Button wake up.
Get that V trigger combo, so here's an opportunity for him. He doesn't have full meter.
Right?
Well, now Raging Demon can be a worry, but somehow I doubt.
Trying to bait out the EX or the V trigger dash, I should say, from Nephew at this stage. You know, look at that. I mean, he, all of a sudden, it felt like he was playing more actively. This wake up here, this wake up jab, I believe it was. Yeah, wake up jab. In that situation, he was so close to death. If this is wrong right here, if this is anything from Nephew, if it's a grab, if it's any button, this is Nephew winning the set, going on to winners finals, Nephew's and losers. I'm sorry, Samurais and losers. But of course, the implied threat here is that Nephew's worried about Samurai doing EXDP. And even at very high levels, this is a threat because you sort of, from the defender's position at this point, it really comes down to like a binary choice from the defender's situation. Anything that the opponent does is going to kill me if they connect with it. So, okay, maybe I should do my EX, my invincible tool. But maybe they're going to expect my invincible tool, in which case I should wake up at the button. Right? It really kind of, in these instances like this, really sort of boils down to that. And Nephew was looking for EXDP, and Samurai was looking for the jab, and that sort of more active, a little bit riskier play
opportunity for him. He doesn't have full meter yet.
began this comeback in this round and led to Samurai taking a game finally.
Nice air fireball to catch out of the vanity step, the air vanity step.
Yeah, and you gotta remember now, Colleen. Load up for trying to
Wow, thanks for the gifted subs. Oh my god.
Samurai on the board.
Yeah, that's a little bit of a
Wild Monk SFV, much obliged.
Did that at a proper range.
Thank you very much.
That Nephew did hit the light punch, and it should have been
Appreciate
able
the
to catch
support.
Akuma in the face a little bit, but too far away. I think it whiffed. I'm not sure if it was a counter hit.
So what worked finally? It was a little bit more active play. A little bit more active play for Samurai.
I have to double check, but nevertheless, he got hit by that.
And the two players could learn different lessons from that. Maybe the lesson is for Samurai, okay, let's go active super hard. But it could also be that Nephew thinks, oh, well, he won in that way. I'm going to play in a way that will limit that, right? Maybe I play more actively instead so that Samurai can't get that stuff out. Never super clear how it's going to end up.
But another wake-up button from Samurai. Nephew is going to definitely start scouting that.
But okay. It is Samurai. Putting hitboxes more out there, a little bit more frequency. It's still not, you would not call this fast play, for sure. But it is a little bit more button heavy. We're seeing a little bit more movement from him. He's throwing air fireballs without trigger a couple of times at this point.
To a lot of success in this set so far.
He definitely does not want to have it so that Nephew can activate easily, right? So that's what the movement is about here, is trying to find a way to limit that activation point. Nephew did find it, but still Samurai able to battle right away.
Really starting to counter a lot of the buttons that are coming out.
Yeah, a little too far for the anti-air attempt. You saw Samurai just walking out of that.
Samurai definitely respecting the V-trigger dash.
On those V-trigger buttons.
V-trigger dash punch, great recognition. Oh man, that's an incredible idea from Nephew right there. You whiff something. Hey, it's very classic footsies, long-term footsies. But very nice. So what ends up helping Samurai yet again? It's another wake-up button situation.
Now the back dash with the enhanced V-trigger, but of course that's gone now.
And what seals it is his sudden burst. This is now the 4th game. And that's the first time that we've seen Samurai dash in that way. That was not just that was 2 dash? I think at the end here.
White had the meaties to stop that, chasing down the back dash with the enhanced V-trigger, but of course that's gone now.
I believe so, right? 1-2. Yeah, 1-2 into the grab. For Nephew to not be able to react there is difficult. You know, he has fantastic reactions. He's super aware. But Samurai sensed that moment of Nephew trying to react to something, trying to react to a fireball, trying to, you know, it's on Samurai in Nephew's mind. You know, it's on Nephew. That is to say, in Nephew's mind, Samurai is going to do something and Nephew has to react, but it's offensively that Nephew will have to react. So to suddenly be placed in a situation where he has to react defensively is quite a different story. Many players get caught by this, even some of the best. But I want to take it back to this moment, which I think was here. Wake up with the 3-framer again, and just like that, takes the life lead, takes this positional advantage. Now, at all times, Nephew is fighting well. It's not like he gets dunked out of this. But you can clearly see that what has led to Samurai now taking 1 game and then another round was insignificant part. Wake up jab, dash forward twice, more activity. He's doing it. He's definitely recognizing what's going on.
Read on Nephew's rhythm. That's the most important thing. Realize he was playing a little defensive. That's what happens when you have no health. So we got the double dash in the throw.
Oh man, Samurai's trying to give different wake-up timings as well. You had a quick rise and then a back tech there. Ooh, yeah, who wouldn't take the bait? It does feel like Samurai is getting walked into the corner.
So he couldn't get any more than he did.
The dash?
Throw into the corner, okay. Oh boy, here we go. Out of there, nice. Beautiful choice.
Dude, the EX vanity. Nice work. Again, it's not like Nephew, I think, ever gets dunked out of this. He's battling this whole time.
Get in there. Samurai and Nephew, both of them barely pressing any buttons, and
I love that. Nephew just scouting the whiff buttons and then trying to walk in and throw him afterwards. However, Samurai was ready.
Look at all these fireballs now.
Nephew does have a slight life lead here, so that's why I think he's playing super
And
cautious.
when that trigger was to be contended with, Samurai was hanging out a little bit more. Wow, fireball right there.
Fireball.
Interesting spacing for that. Now, of course, has the threat of demon, in which Nephew knows.
But then we also gotta watch out for confirm,
Okay,
but I don't
went
think
in,
it's gonna matter.
and
We're gonna get the ice
okay,
on the air
that's the round. But let's see if we can find out what it was that Samurai pressed here in this situation.
And now we've gotta watch out.
I know what my
for
bet
demons.
is.
I think that's what he was trying to fake there.
All right. What button did he try? Because he did something that got hit. Can we see it? Come on, frame. It's kind of hard to tell what that was, to be honest. I was gonna say I thought that was gonna be jab, but I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure.
But then we also gotta watch
In
out
any
for
case,
confirms, but I don't
maybe he
think
had
it's
learned the
gonna
lesson
matter.
of, okay, the last
Oh, the air
2
throw.
rounds I've won in part by, in these situations towards the end of a round, I wake up with something, with a button, and it turns into the business. You think that would stand short? Could be.
Getting counter hit by the meaty, so good stuff on the adjustment.
Yep, another match point for Nephew.
Yeah, I really don't know.
Samurai, of course, all he needs to do is win this round, and it's 2-2, and then the nerves will be on Nephew's side. But if Nephew can take this,
Wow. He's given so many different timings. Yeah, he's making Nephew think about so many different things at this point. So whereas at the beginning of the set, Samurai more often was a little bit more patient. He walked back quite a bit. He did try some of this stuff, but he now is more frequently trying it. Okay, jump works, maybe in part because he had just done dive kick. He did throw fireballs versus this V-trigger.
Close enough to get the lane. Here we go.
He's certainly presenting more things for Nephew to have to think about. That overhead, right? Think about that as something that Nephew has to contend with.
Life is even. Oh, right.
Yeah,
He's gonna get hit by the ice, but that's fine. He got
good
the
trade in that
knockdown.
situation,
But he's
IMO.
down in health now, and he's
Look, he's almost dead again. Wakes up with backdash.
He's got his back to the corner once again.
Almost dead again.
That fireball at the last moment. DP this time going straight through it. No enhanced icicles.
Yep, and no more V-trigger.
So Samurai now with no trigger. He needs to make this happen. It's match point Nephew.
Just trying to get to the critical
So
part that he can
Samurai, I think, recognizes that Nephew knows the situation too, and that the situation really is that Nephew needs to find one fierce or one roundhouse, or yeah, right, that would have killed.
Yeah, but he knows Samurai.
And when people are in that situation, they very commonly hold off.
Interaction and the EX fireball in the sky is actually gonna
So
tie
first
this
of all,
up.
yes, EX Fireball has an incredible hitbox.
Yeah, but he knows
You know,
Samurai.
it's
Oh, actually using a
It's pretty good.
bar,
Let's just take a look at it because it's
awesome.
hilarious. Yes, it's gigantic. But the only reason that ended up killing was that was that Samurai whittled down Nephew's life. So in this situation here,
Interrupting that fireball at the last
Okay.
moment. DP this time going straight
Here we
through
go
it.
now.
Enhanced icicles.
so Nephew has backed off. He's got a pretty significant life lead.
got. Oh, he's
He
just
blocks
trying to
one
go far.
fireball.
That's what that demon flip was about. He's just trying
Again,
to get to the
from
critical
Nephew's
part
perspective,
so that he
think,
can get the
well, all he's got to
super
do is land a roundhouse or like just one hit, a hail, something.
There we go. Now it's
And so,
dangerous. 15
in furtherance of that
seconds
mindset,
left.
he's already taken pretty significant chip damage.
Samurai. Oh,
Maybe was looking for grab there out of that, and just like that, it's Samurai with the life lead. So Samurai made this comeback, not with V-Trigger. And not even really with, part of it was his wake-up activity. Let's go back to even a little bit further. I think that was it right there.
He got the knockdown.
Oh, maybe it was right before.
Life is coming back. He's starting the comeback. Now the life is even.
No, okay. So at one moment here, he gets knocked down again. He does wake up backdash in a situation in which he could have died. Yep.
It's just a throw.
Oh yeah, imagine if that had been anything out of Nephew. And Samurai, again, it feels like each of the last, I don't know, 4 rounds that he's won, 3 rounds that he's won at least, he has made some kind of big bet. And one round he tried it as well and it didn't work, but right now that idea of waking up with, not just blocking, backdash, stand, jab, something like that, has definitely made a big difference for him. So I think the lesson that he's learning here is, okay, let's bring in a little bit more activity.
Yeah, but he knows Samurai. Oh, actually using a bar. Actually, he maybe hit like cross-up. Super weird interaction. And the EX fireball in the sky is actually going to tie this
It's
up.
definitely a strong hitbox.
Hitbox was that? Or something.
Both those hitboxes at the end, the EX, it's what Samurai needed in that moment. And Nephew, you know, he's a younger
So it's
competitor
2-2.
than Samurai. He's gotta make sure
It
he
seemed
keeps
like
his
it was going to be a
composure.
3-2 Nephew. I'm sorry, 3-0 Nephew. And it seemed like it was going to be a 3-1 Nephew.
I just wanna know what
Now it's
kind of
2-2.
yelling and screaming is going on in that apartment right now.
I honestly, James,
Look at that pressure. Have we, okay, a stun. Where did this even come from?
Capcom Cup is on the line here. Samurai
There's
trying to
so
ride
much
that
more
momentum.
activity on Samurai's side.
Fireball, of course, ignoring that scaling, just going full
Okay,
on.
first of all, that was incredible, actually. Again, Nephew, at no point does Nephew seem like he's given up or anything. He plays well this entire time. But again, it's Samurai doing this on Wake Up. In no way is that invincible. In no way. I don't know what the speed of EX Fireball to come out is. I would guess it's, I don't know, half dozen. It's pretty fast. Maybe it's more than that. To even jump into the air, it's already, I don't know, 3-4 frames. That was such a Wake Up bet, but it's been working, and so he did it. And so to go back to even the beginning here,
Younger competitor than Samurai. He's got to make sure he keeps his composure.
think back to some of those rounds where Samurai did have life leads, but it took him like 20 seconds to whittle down, you know, 30% life. Now all of a sudden he's snowballing.
Honestly, James, I think it's super.
Look at that. Dashes in, then walks in. Not even just dashed immediate grab. It was dash walk.
Red fireball, of course, ignoring that scaling, just going full hog. Wow, good stuff.
Again, super good Wake Up right there.
Waking up with that.
Hoping that Samurai would walk backwards, and that's exactly what happened. But yeah, here it is.
Wake Up EX
With that.
Look at this.
cross.
Look at Nephew. Just hoping that finally Samurai would stay still. And he didn't. And he didn't.
This almost stumped
So,
the Wake Up EX Fireball.
each of the
That is some
last, I don't know, 4 rounds at this point. Well, again, might be like 4 out of 5 rounds have had Samurai taking it in significant part due to a gutsy Wake Up call. The beginning part of this round was Samurai pressuring in a way that we hadn't seen throughout the previous most of the set. So Samurai's definitely more active, right? Did he walk himself to the corner this time? No, right? It's a different strategy in neutral, much more pressure heavy. The intention is to snowball, and on defense now, rather than sitting still, he is active. 2 significant changes. 2 significant changes. Yeah, if you read that the opponent's going to throw, this makes total sense. But that is a pretty significant read. I mean, he did have an EX bar there, and that could have just been EXDP Wake Up, couldn't it? And in that case, if Nephew had done anything that wasn't just block, Samurai would have taken the round. But if Nephew had blocked or gone for grab, then EX Air Fireball is actually the better call. So, I mean, there are these mix-ups here, and SF5 doesn't offer you, as the defender, very many easy ways out. That's one of the things I really like about the game, is that you have to make bets defensively a lot. And there's a lot defensively that you just have to deal with. You just are stuck dealing with it unless you're making giant brain plays. And that is exactly what Samurai's doing here. So all of a sudden, he's at match point.
Wake Up Gale. But this
Yeah.
time, let's just go for the Wake Up EX Fireball. Smart decision by Samurai. And guess what? It is the first match point now for Samurai.
He brought it back, man. We talked about his composure.
Nephew dashing up and blocking, huh? I feel like that kind of thing didn't really happen early on either. It's like he's now expecting Samurai to be more
He's
active.
just one of those players that's not going to panic. He's not going to get nervous.
Yeah, look at this. The pressure even feels a little bit less strong. Stand jab in the middle of that situation. Previously, Nephew had an extended corner period where he was able to pressure in the corner just with walking.
Nephew, obviously a strong player, has perfectly capable of taking this all the way back as well.
The challenge there, stand jab, all of these situations now as Samurai. This was so sick. EXDP in that situation, tried for the grab, which would have worked, but he didn't walk quite as far.
But you know, I mean, he's one of those. Wow, how did he know what side that was so ambiguous. What a block.
EX Fireball. She still has that trigger, and he feels confident enough to bring that out. I was super impressed by that. EX Air Fireball again.
He wanted to go for the hero throw. He was trying to take a walk in the park. Not gonna happen. Here we go. Oh boy, one more throw could do it.
Wake up with button, and it didn't work, but wake up with button again.
That's just to back him off, and there's that. Yep, we're just gonna counter each other with projectiles, keep each other away.
Yeah, and he uses the last enhanced fireball right there. No V trigger on either side, no V reversal on either side.
Wow, that was so gutsy. Trying to build the EX to try to get EX Hail to get in, and it's the EX instead from Samurai.
Jumping EX fire.
Wow. Wow. So, let's just go back and watch this round, because I feel like this was kind of an encapsulation of the changes that were made.
Calmest collected players in the game.
Really good jump. Again, Nephew's in this. But in this situation, previously, we saw Samurai down back in one of the earlier games here. And Nephew was able to sort of back and forth walk, threaten with a shimmy. I don't think it worked at that time. It's my memory at least, but he did manage to walk back and forth, and so that showed that Samurai was sort of not willing to press buttons in this situation. Well, now here's his jab. You know, he had already done a neutral jump in the situation. Medium kick, medium kick. Getting Nephew to bite on that as well. The challenge there. Look at all of these challenges from Samurai. This was super smart. This is the Samurai moment that we've seen him do for the decade that he's been one of the best players in North America. You know, I was looking back not long ago, and the first time that I recall Samurai making a top 8, at least in the matches, sorry, in the tournaments that I was looking at, 2011, most of a decade at this point. This is something he's been willing to do the whole time. So he, in Street Fighter 4, I can recall more than a few times in which he did EXDP as a meaty. I've seen him do that in Street Fighter 5, a game where that makes even less sense. But in this situation, he sort of does it. It's really more like he's actually the one waking up, but this situation here, in which he meets Nephew in the sky with jump. Fierce, I think it was, yep. So, who lands first? I think it's Colleen, but let's see. Nah, they landed about the same time, but Nephew tried to take advantage of the situation by pressing his button, and Samurai with basically simultaneous EXDP. I think it's about what you would say there. Why does this work? It works because people who get knocked out of the sky like this, in that sort of situation, expect that they're going to land first before the opponent does, and they try to get their button out first. Very common. And it works in addition to that because Samurai has had absolutely the correct read on Nephew over the past, basically 3 games at this point, in which he has more and more become more active. Not just offensively, but defensively. Pressing buttons more, moving more, dashing more, jumping more. EXDP in this situation, right? That kind of, to me, sort of encapsulates how this match goes. To look back at the game number 1, game number 2, in which Nephew won. You know, I don't think you could imagine Samurai doing this and certainly not feeling credible about it. But he, throughout the course of this set, saw that it was working more and more, and now he brings out the big guns. Sometimes this game does give advantage to the defender in air-to-airs. It really just depends on the jump arc of the opponent, well, the jump arc of the person who is doing the attack, when they hit it in the sky, all that sort of stuff. But it can work out like that. Not always. It's so at a surface level, is this like a Silver Ken strat, right? I don't, sure, at a surface level, that is to say, he does EXDP, which may happen in lower level play, but the reasoning behind it is so different. So in my mind, when I'm thinking about this sort of stuff, I take a maybe like an overly high-minded view of it, but just sort of as I like it as sort of an explanatory technique, even though maybe it is overstating things too much. But you know how a fantastic top-level artist can in some cases draw things or paint things that you think to yourself, if you're not somebody who's in the know, wow, it looks like anybody could have done that. My little kid could have done this thing, that sketch that Picasso just drew out. I could have done that, and maybe you could have. But what actually matters is the reasoning behind it. That's why anybody cares about that sort of stuff. It's the reasoning behind it. What's your reason behind it? There's none, right? So from a lower level perspective, you may do this, but the reasoning is absent, and that reasoning not being there is not going to work against a top level player. That's what anybody's paying attention to, is the reasoning. And the reasoning in this case for Samurai is way higher, right? It's sort of it's a longer thing. He has built up to it. He has seen that similar sorts of things have worked, and he brings it out here for that reason, right? I think that's really smart.
Wow, air to air with the EXDP. It is not your turn to press a button.
Samurai's going nuts.
Yeah, it's the same sort of thing in any endeavor, really.
What a block.
I like writing a lot, and some of my favorite writers write stuff that anybody could put the sentence together. But what's cool about it is why the sentence gets put together, or why the sort of there's no grammar in that situation. I like that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't like it if it was some scrub writing. It just wouldn't have the same meaning to me. I want the reasoning. Why is it like that? And Samurai's reasoning was spot on in this set. Well, really in the last 3 games of this set, you would say.
It's up to Nephew. 9 seconds. Oh, the what?
EX again.
The magic move. Fireball does it all.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good move for sure.
I feel like all 3 rounds he just won, the last 3 rounds were all via EX, jumping EX Fireball. What?
EX Fireball. It is fast. Yeah. You know what? Let's look up the frame data on that. I don't know offhand. 5 frame startup on the EX Air Fireball. Yeah, that's fast for sure. But that's still not fast in any like real sense. Like that's like waking up with, to do jump air fireball is like waking up with a fierce, you know, it's like waking up with a heavy punch or kick. So you're definitely stealing a bunch of frames. But that worked a bunch. And although even at the end, it was still close. Look at the life bars here. Samurai's not blowing up Nephew, but in those little situations where Samurai needed to have some sort of activity, he got it. He got it. And Nephew did not often enough shut it down. It's basically a backdash that attacks. Yeah. Yeah. And it has the benefit of not being crush counterable. So that was Winners Finals. Winners Finals by Samurai. So Nephew then gets sent down to losers. He makes a super impressive run. So here was the bracket. And you could see Snake Eyes down 2-3 to Nephew. JB down 3-1 to Nephew. Then Strider as well was 3-1. So that's quite a row of players to get through. Snake Eyes, JB, Strider. That's a short list of the best players in North America for sure. And then he got back to the grand finals, where it's Samurai and Nephew again. Usually I think in these situations, if it's a close set, that sends somebody to losers and then they get the rematch. I think pretty often the person who comes in who lost previously is the one who has the advantage here, because they're the one who has oftentimes thought a little bit more critically about why they lost. That's not true for everybody. Some people who win sets also think critically about it and will expect countermeasures, but that's harder to do. It's harder to imagine in your mind, okay, what is it that, so say you're Samurai in this situation, what is it that I did that beat Nephew? Now what is Nephew gonna do to beat what I did? And what do I then use to beat Nephew with, right? There's sort of, you're thinking a step ahead, then you're thinking a step ahead of that. You're a couple steps in the future. Whereas Nephew just needs to think, all right, what was it that Samurai beat me with? what's my counter to that? You know, it's a little bit more concrete sort of thinking. It's a little bit more accessible. And of course, Nephew can think in the future too. Okay, what is it maybe that Samurai would change this time after, you know, what is Samurai going to expect that I'll do? And then what's Samurai going to do to beat that? And then what am I going to do to beat that, right? So he can think in the future as well. But at a more fundamental level, he can just think like, okay, well, what did I lose to? What's the counter? Let's send it back to the press box. All right, everybody, thanks for hanging out. We're going to take a short break as we send it down to the field. Thanks, David. Much obliged. All right, everybody, time for my wiggle break. I'm going to get up and do a little bit of push-ups. I recommend that you do the same. We'll be back very shortly. Dang. Production! Look, guys, I'm just trying to do a show here. Can you make sure to keep my mic on next time? Thanks. All right, well, let's send it back up to David. Hopefully he won't have any microphone problems. Nope, I think it's going all right. Thanks for sending it back up here, David. Appreciate that. We're taking a look at Samurai versus Nephew. We're taking a look at CPT Online NA West from yesterday. We just saw the winners finals in which Nephew jumped out to a 2-0 lead, and then Samurai brought it back to win 3-2. He won 3 games in a row. How did he do that, right? So it seemed like he was a little bit more active offensively and defensively. And as the set went on, it seemed like he was more and more being more active, right? Waking up with buttons more often. He woke up with air EX fireball a couple of times. He woke up with crouching medium kicks, jumps. He dashed in more often. It was definitely a more deliberately active play style. He did EXDP when they were both reset in that one situation. That ended up really stealing a lot of time, stealing a lot of pressure, ending Nephew's pressure, creating offense for Samurai himself. And it worked out. So now we're gonna take a look at the grand finals where Nephew has, like I said, battled back through losers to make it the rematch in grand finals. Before we move on, I did 12 push-ups. And it felt like a lot. So let's get into the game.
Been phenomenal.
So let's see how they treat this. Nephew's had a little bit more time to think about things. He's been busy, but he's, like I said, coming into this as the guy who lost, and that tends to be the person who thinks about it a little bit more, has a sort of, if it was close, a little bit easier time at making some adjustments.
A nice jump back and still gets the anti-air on that double jump.
Yeah, most definitely now. Oh, he doesn't get the anti-air.
Already seen a couple of double jumps to escape. We saw EX Vanity a couple times. Okay, the air throw this time, we didn't see that before. We also didn't see Samurai jumping quite as much. But there certainly is a lot of activity from Samurai here, even in the corner. He's walking, he's throwing fireballs, he's jumped a few times. He's not going overboard, but it is more of the active style that it seemed like he was using at the end of their winner's semi set.
Having that immaculate fireball game.
Dang, okay.
He is just one of the pinnacles of this style.
Samurai almost trying to bait it out there, right? To react, I was just gonna say, yeah. It's like he's putting it out there on purpose. I wonder, you know, I never put it past a player like Samurai to make that kind of decision. Oh, that's not, yeah. Good work, good work, good work. Good work. If that had been just a couple of frames before, probably would have been good for Samurai. Yeah, you probably do EXDP in that situation. Well, I guess it wouldn't be EX anymore, he'd be in V-Trigger. But Nephew happened to have stuck a roundhouse out right then, and really, really good confirm.
his Akuma owes a lot to Tokido.
Yeah, I would like to ask Samurai, you know, I don't want to over-attribute things to players, but I'd like to ask him whether he was throwing fireballs here to get rid of that V-timer. I don't know. I almost wouldn't put it past him, to be honest. Especially after how that previous set went in which he was able to be active so successfully on defense. If you're not afraid of getting knocked down, why not do the thing that takes off your opponent's extremely strong V-trigger? I don't know. But like I said, I don't want to attribute that. Not sure.
To Tokido, to be honest with you. Oh, he's gonna get hit. He's gonna get hit. And what a beautiful confirm again. Nephew being fully aware of how.
Yeah, definitely. If you're Nephew in this situation, you definitely mash that super. Of course, of course. Here, it goes two ways. One of two ways. One, Samurai recovers from the activation in time and does invincible dragon punch and you're dead. Two, he doesn't, and the roundhouse connects, and you get super. That's all. So a very strong recognition by Nephew.
It's not going to be a crush count or anything like that, right? So it's not going to be a standard follow-up. He had the critical already. Beautiful awareness.
Yeah. So we're talking about Samurai.
I think that's the first time we saw a fireball that close blocked. And we have, by the way, seen Samurai in the corner both rounds so far. Okay, Nephew walking up. Ah, but of course there's the wake up button.
Now living with Punk, they both moved out to NorCal.
Good old Sunnyvale C8.
Wow, that was really good. Unfortunately for Nephew, the range wasn't there for the rest of the combo, but super nice.
Go through the fireball as well, yo.
Interesting. It's definitely a funky range where Samurai is throwing fireballs more often. That's a range where it's pretty tough to react. Oh yeah, good work.
But here we go. Samurai gets his
good work.
Confirm into the critical arc to take round number 2.
Very interesting to see the decisions that they're both making having played in that previous set, isn't it? There's certainly moments in which Samurai is still active, and both of them actually are being pretty active on their own wake-ups. There's not a lot of true meaties or strong meaty pressure here. It's a little bit more even on that. And Samurai throwing a lot of fireballs from that about a quarter screen range, really pretty close.
Pesters you with them, and then he stops for a second, right? And
his fireball game has always been really strong. This game is not one where it's easy to make that count. There's not a lot of characters where that's something that's easy to make count, but he has one of the characters who's the best at it, certainly. Nice. Okay, maybe doing it a little bit too much. We've now seen that twice from Nephew. And Nephew's not playing the game of trying to walk in there and grab. He's not even doing that. It's like he's trying to just cage him. I wonder if he'll even pressure. Okay, a grab. And again, right, not a true meaty there. Now, she's not in range to grab instantly. She's got to walk slightly, but still, it's pretty hands-off there. It's like Nephew is more content to see, okay, if Samurai is going to be more active on wake up, maybe I just shouldn't even get involved. Maybe I can just play in neutral and win that way. Wow, backdash again. The activity. Nice. It did feel that way to me, that Nephew was not really being strong on offense, that is to say on knockdown. And neither of them really were. And then Nephew felt like he was comfortable with that. That sequence in the corner. Here we go. So in each of these rounds, Nephew backed Samurai up into the corner yet again. We saw that in the first part of the first set. Okay, tried to walk up a little bit, but for the most part, he's pretty content, it seems. Very cool. All right, let's go to the second game here. Oh.
She definitely crashes into the folks when she's on the ice skates, bro. I don't blame her for calling it that.
A jump. Now, there have been a lot of fireballs. Classical setup for Akuma there. Wow, he waited actually for the backdash.
Huh. Too early on on that throw attempt there. That's going to allow Nephew to get a back throw, set up shop in the corner himself, but a quick cross up will put an end to that.
He is throwing those fireballs at that range even still.
And then,
Again, that's a range where, at least if you're Nephew, you begin to be able to react to that stuff.
And then you can see, though, he did switch it up a little bit that time, right? Putting out
Dang.
a jab in between
The low is so fast. So much for trying to react to fireballs, you know, try to react to that.
It gives Colleen a low option from so far away.
Oop.
And you have to respect it. It's hard to move your character around when you have
Samurai
that
checking a little bit there. Was that a dash or was that a walk?
It's hard to move your character
It was a dash.
around
Yeah,
when you
yeah,
have
nice
that
work, nice
ready to
work.
go. But without the ice skates, the dash is a
Yeah, certainly Colleen has extremely strong footsies, for sure. The Fierce, the background house, that sort of stuff. Those are really, really strong buttons. And it's true that for many characters, they've made things more whiff punishable. I don't remember if they did that with Colleen, actually. Did they not? In any case, it's not a lot, as you can see.
little bit
Still
more
not easy.
tenable, and Samurai does so to take round number 1.
Yeah, we talk about how walking back is such an important facet of Street Fighter 5. Beautiful stand medium kick into the Tatsu.
Unclear if he did it. I'm gonna have to go back there and see if that was on reaction. That was a confirm. Fierce into that.
Now again, this is where
Woo!
Fred has been buttered,
The
but a
backdash, again, it's that willingness to be active defensively.
People who backdash in the corner to avoid throws are just like, I don't
Wow,
know,
he was gonna take the grab 100%, and then the challenge from Nephew in that situation after presenting the idea that he's gonna hang
Oh
out.
yeah, I'm with you, James. I'm a scrub.
Super
I ain't
nice.
trying to do that, bro. I'm too scared.
Ah, come on.
Side, what do you
Come on.
Nasty cross under right there to take.
Oh,
I'm a scrub.
is to do something like that. I don't know.
Bro.
People who
Buttered, but a great
So-
backdash. Holy smokes, avoiding the throw.
Yeah, this jump right here, that's really nice. That had been a range in the previous game where
Now again, this is where
Nephew was doing a good
Fred has been
job.
buttered, but a great backdash.
you know, he was doing a good job. It looked like he was feeling comfortable here. So for Samurai to find exactly the right moment to jump over, it's like right here. Right. Just happens to be that, yeah, it happens to be that he jumps at the same time as the roundhouse begins. Nothing is on reaction here. This is just a bet. And Samurai was right. So that's quite a read on timing on his part.
Avoiding the throw.
people who
not like you're jumping over a fireball here.
avoid throws are just like, I don't know, like how do you?
Yeah, I love that. I love the sort of making the opponent believe, okay, you're just going to take the grab, and then the challenge comes.
Scrub, I ain't trying to do that, bro.
Real interesting defensive timing, and then, yeah, you know, what do you do? What are you going to do about that?
Oh man.
What are you going to do about that?
Nephew trying to
Nothing on reaction, that's for sure. You just got to make your guess beforehand.
his round, he'll get to 2-0. Remember, he
Ooh,
went 2-0
okay, maybe he's learned that he
Samurai
can
and
jump. Is that
ended up losing
what
on
Samurai
either
believes
side.
now?
So 2-0 is not even a guaranteed place to be to get the reset.
Maybe. He's 3 times now.
And then neutral jump almost worked.
Hasn't been punished for any of them. Wow.
Yet. Hit confirm on that.
Again, trying to set up shop. Yes, STO in the corner.
I like that back.
Now we saw Samurai jump out last time.
Samurai has forgotten about
Oh, he would love to
safety
block.
and
Yes,
tutorial.
he's got the
Air
trigger.
fireballs. Come on, man.
I cannot believe Samurai didn't bite on that micro.
That
walk
could have
up.
been
He
a big
actually got
moment
into
either
the
way.
and then walked back to try
And
to
now you
keep
see
the
Samurai
ball.
trying to fight in this spot. He's not jumping out. It's at this point when he needs to make the comeback happen is probably when Nephew's going to pay more attention to that.
Discipline.
Okay, Nephew.
Wow, he dashed in for anti-air stand jab. That was super sick.
Him out of the air. Try to get some
Nice,
pressure. Here we go.
okay.
Lots of meter. He's gonna spend the meter.
Oh, that's right. That's right. The big error. I remember this.
Oh god, now one mix up. It's just one mix up now.
Oh, no. What was the move that came to his rescue so many times in set number 1? It was EX Air Fireball. That's probably what
One mix up now.
this was. Let's see if we can... Is it jump strong that he gets here? What is this? Yeah.
Oh, he dropped the fireball in.
Just one mix. Gotta get some more pressure. Here we go. With that opportunity to dash in, snipe him out of the air. Try to get some more
Interesting.
pressure. Here we
Interesting
go.
that he did
Lots
that
of
there.
meter.
Huh.
He's gonna spend the meter on
Yeah, that's a bummer.
Oh god. Oh god.
And
Now
almost
one
worked out
mix
for
up.
Samurai.
It's just one mix up now.
Not quite. So, okay, in part based on a small little error here, we have Nephew coming up 2-0. But like with the first set, this is very back and forth. And I don't think for either player, at any point so far, has there really been like a super strong one-way read. It's not a one-sided match at all throughout this, which is why I thought it was such a strong set of matches that they had. In each point, both players are battling well. But what's cool, nevertheless, is to see what sort of gets them through more often, without having a big life lead in these situations. But, one player ends up winning more often than the other.
What happened? Oh, man.
The wiring in the house favoring Nephew. He's the one that pays the bills, not you, Samurai.
Yeah, Punk is off. Just kidding. And plugs it back.
So now it's 2-0 for Nephew in this Grand Finals set number 1.
This is the exact place we found ourselves in Winter Semi, so he can get comfortable.
So remember, Samurai did do a bunch of jumps last time, and he didn't get anti-aired. Here we go, though.
Follow up, of course.
Nephew showing that he is paying attention to this stuff. So Samurai trying for a little bit more active wake up again, and nope. Oh, dude, I actually love that, the backdash.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that was like gonna be some type of reset opportunity.
He's felt like he's been able to win in neutral.
Nephew still with a dominant lead here.
He didn't want to challenge a DP up close. And maybe knowing Samurai, maybe he was looking for DP.
Nice.
Oh, that sucks too. Just got the wrong direction.
Nephew, though, but
Thought
yeah.
it was going to be on the other side. Samurai can get a combo into critical art right now and take this round. Oh, but the reaction.
It's very interesting to see that he's done that so often in this set. We saw that very rarely in the first set. Samurai, there were periods where he threw a lot of fireballs, but those were periods that were more like he's the one who needed to come back, and so Nephew was being patient because Nephew knew he didn't really need to make anything happen. It was a little more about that. Or there were moments when V-Trigger was not activated in which Samurai was throwing fireballs. Here, this is not a situation in which Samurai, like I was saying earlier, I didn't want to attribute this to him, but you conceivably could think like, maybe he's trying to bait out the uses of the V-trigger dash to make the V-timer go down so he doesn't have to deal with it later on in the round. But obviously that's not the case here because he's going to die.
Right now and take this round.
Right. Oh! So I don't know. I don't know what to make of that. Is that him just hoping that Nephew won't get it in time? Is it him not thinking about it? I don't know. Very unusual to see Samurai not thinking about something. He's, in general, a super strong player at keeping all of his options in mind. And the opponent's options in mind. But whatever, that's Nephew at match point for this, well, at set point really is what it is.
Young man reactions.
Well, like I was saying earlier, he has thrown a lot of fireballs in that range in this set. In the previous set, he didn't throw those fireballs at that range when there was V-trigger active. He threw fireballs when he expected Nephew to be patient, when Nephew didn't have meter or V-trigger. He did do that then. Not in this situation when Nephew has trigger, is looking for something to get through, right? Would win the round and that would be it, right? I don't know. I think that's unusual.
Yeah, now on reset point in the version of a 3-0 reset.
Well, if Samurai wins it in this set, he's going to have the longest road possible. Down 0-2.
Little challenge there for Samurai. That stand jab in block situation. I like that a lot. Trying to control things. Now he's looking for the jump. I like this. Okay. It's a couple of correct timing and placement guesses here for Samurai.
You see the little bit of a frame kill jab into the throw right there. Oh, doesn't confirm the
Not there, and then everybody wants to throw if they have their back to the corner. Dude, come on. Set up here. Yeah, very strong.
Super smooth from Nephew. Oh my
now we have seen Nephew kind of hang out there a little bit in, I don't know, 1/3 screen and corner pressure situations. Now he's going in big time.
One more hit.
I was really surprised about that too. Now, I haven't labbed this as Akuma, but I would have thought that he could demon there. That's really what I expected when I was watching this live, and I saw. Let's see. Hail activate. I really thought this was going to be Demon. And he blocked in time. So it's not like he got punished, right? I mean, he had a few frames here. A few frames.
I'll throw again. One more hit.
Oh, maybe they recover at the same exact time. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I haven't labbed that specifically to know if that would work or not.
Reach again, and Samurai goes down in the first
But he
set.
definitely got pressured big time in that corner, and that was one of the first situations
Oh my goodness,
in which
STO, the life lead is essentially
Nephew successfully went in a bunch. So this is Samurai with a life lead, right? Look at this life lead right now. Samurai, yeah, let's start maybe here. So Samurai jumps into the corner going for cross up. People often want to throw right after that so that they can get the corner again. It's a mix-up still, at this, especially at this level of play, but Nephew with a tech. And then things start going downhill for him slightly. So the dive still has rarely just been truly anti-aired, but then with was it crouching short? What do we got after this? Stand jab. Oh, okay. It was mid? Oh yeah, for sure. Nice. So Nephew looking for the fast tool. Good call.
He says, look, if you don't get
That is a lot of
combo, I'm
damage.
gonna counter.
And this is a situation where Samurai, you know, like I was mentioning in the first set, in that round in which Nephew kind of gave up the life lead, ended up losing a round where he had a life lead. He did it in part by playing a different style, and the style was, well, I know I only need like 1 or 2 more hits, so, and I have a life lead, so I'm not too worried about this. So he blocked a lot of fireballs and ended up getting into a life situation in which he couldn't afford to play that way anymore, ended up losing. And that's not uncommon that people get into mindsets where they think, okay, well, I'm just like a hit or 2 away from this. And that changes your strategy from what was working to give you the life lead in the first place.
Get out of here.
And this corner pressure was really, really successful. This is some of the most successful corner pressure that we've seen. This is not Samurai waking up with a ton of buttons, right? This is not Samurai doing very active stuff. He did take the bait here, but this is not what I would call active defense. If this was a stand short or a crouching medium kick or something, but this is him taking the bait on a throw tech, right? Which is kind of a different story. So I still don't think that you could really say that this was a blow up. If you look at just the score, you think, wow, 3-0, but it was close in almost all of the rounds. And but for a few errors, maybe, right? Maybe Samurai throwing that fireball at 1/3 screen where Nephew reacted to it with V-trigger dash, but for maybe Samurai not messing up the air EX fireball that one time. Like, there are these little situations that actually could have produced a different result. But especially at the end right there, it felt to me that Nephew had kind of gotten the right rhythm for offense, that Samurai didn't have the active defense that we had seen so commonly out of the last, set and a half, more or less. Yeah, do you think Demon would work? I'm not sure. We looked at it there. Yeah, I think might have is the best way to put it. It's just I don't want to proclaim that it would work, and I haven't specifically tested that. But like, I know what my character's options are as grapplers, and I'm usually command grabbing out of that, or if I have Zangief, if I'm doing 720. Yeah, totally. So maybe it would work, maybe not.
First set being sent to losers bracket by Nephew. You can't be eliminated until you're sent to losers bracket. That is what Nephew has done. Now both of them in the final set here.
Yeah, 3-0.
CPT.
I think that.
By the way, my understanding is that they're no longer in the same house. I believe it's that Samurai drove back to his apartment or wherever he lives for the grand finals. So they're like not in the same, not like down the hall from each other or whatever the situation was.
Probably maybe could have done. I'm not sure if he was close enough, but maybe Demon, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
So I don't think this is an obvious situation in which you could say, well, clearly player A is making all the right decisions and player B is getting their butt kicked, and here's the solution to not getting your butt kicked. It's not really that way, right? That even though that was a 3-0, there was still many close situations. And many good reads on either side. But at the end, I would say the things that closed out some rounds were a couple of, maybe one execution error for Samurai, maybe him with a strategic error or not being aware as he typically is, in which he threw that fireball that Nephew reacted to with the V-trigger dash through. And then at the end, Nephew getting some great reads on pressure timings and situations, and Samurai either not doing Demon because he didn't think it would work or because he knew it wouldn't work or whatever. And then Samurai kind of sitting there and taking the bait on the throw tech in a way that he really hadn't been. You know, it wasn't the active buttonsy defense. It wasn't the jump back air EX fireball. It wasn't anything like that. It was him taking the bait on the grab. So those moments, I would say those did go in favor of Nephew. And those are what stand out in my mind right now, because many of the intervening moments were really back and forth. Really back and forth.
Like, that would have been obviously huge brain, but yeah, it's definitely, it was going to be a tough thing to think of at the time. And again, I'm not an Akuma player. I'm not exactly sure of the range on that, but yeah, I think that could have been really the only option besides blocking in that scenario.
Okay, here we go. Final set.
Final set.
It is going to be Nephew and
Oh,
Samurai.
no more with Nathan?
This is for all the marbles here. The first person
Nathan
to
sleeping
3
on the
wins
job.
will be your
All right.
year.
Incredible stuff so far.
Okay.
We've seen the mental fortitude of Samurai.
So this is the final set finally, and it's it's been really back and forth.
You just got to make the adjustments and
Jumping at that range. Okay, we've seen more jumping than I might expect out of Samurai. I can only recall one significant anti-air in the previous set.
Once you get to in the corner, those EX hails,
So at that closer range, oh, beautiful stuff. Samurai jumping right, pressuring well.
Yep, catches the uppercut with that,
The little ice fart.
one single icicle dropping down.
So good. Super good. The range on that Pearson feature.
Waits for the back dash in the corner this time and throws him afterward. You can see the shimmy attempt there, but Samurai again so disciplined.
Okay, so remember last time. Okay, Samurai takes the risk. You know, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that.
Crouching medium kick again. Beautiful sync.
Let's see if he challenged. Oh, back throw. Wow, a defensive throw. A worried throw. Oh, beautiful. Samurai now getting the reads in those situations. Not actually pressuring. Wow. Okay. Pretty weird. Some weird situations here. So right off the bat, I like the jump. I like this jump placement right here from Samurai. It was close. It's not a range where it's easily anti-aired. Not a cross-up like this especially. What was the button that was tried? Jab? Yeah, that makes sense. And no dice. So that already is Nephew backdashing. Active defense. Great whiff punish. And then that's Nephew. So I think that was Nephew just holding up forward, right? Let's see. Okay, so meaty jab. And it hits. And it's not, there's no button or anything. There's no counter hit. So this is probably Nephew just holding up and continuing to hold up forward. What a genius. And then he's out of there. Okay.
With that one single icicle dropping down.
Oh boy, and then activating.
And Samurai's defensive option, right? Backdash again.
Waits for the backdash in the corner this time and throws him afterward. You can see the shimmy attempt there, but Samurai again, so disciplined on defense.
Super strong stuff. Now, okay, that doesn't work. But it's still, in my mind, not a bad mix-up. Sure, the easy stuff, the obvious stuff is the X palm. Plus frames, it's great. It's also counterable. And it's obvious. And so to go instead for EX Demon Flip Grab is the extra layer. And Samurai thinks that they're there, and Nephew maybe realized, hey, I think maybe Samurai thinks that we're at that level, but Let's bring it to the next one, in which it's just a
Or you can see the shimmy
attack
attack
under
Samurai
to get underneath
again,
the grab.
So disciplined on the defensive end. Now gets the
Yeah, I like it. Now, it ends up not being a great punish by Nephew, but I think that makes a lot of sense on Samurai's side. This, I was a little bit more surprised about. This back throw here. People back throw when they are holding block. It's not going to stun, which is another reason that you would do back throw. This is just, yeah, down back. Down back into grab. That's exactly what I thought, yeah. So that's Nephew being slightly concerned about maybe there being an EX wake up. And if there was, he would have blocked in time. But the other side of that is that he kind of gives up positioning here.
Back throw though. Ooh, this could be a huge mistake for.
That's such a good read by Samurai to just keep walking. Imagine just keeping going against a character like Colleen with great jump roundhouse, jump medium kick, like target combo in the air. And then this. This is just one of those funky situations where, like, who really knows who recovers first? And then they both were like at the same time, all right, time to press a button. And then it's Nephew doing it first. Classic.
On Nephew's side and seals the first round, continuing this momentum.
Very back and forth
What?
in that round.
What a choice to use the ice spear to get to the other side.
And both of them waking up with a lot of different stuff.
Scrambly at the end there, but
Yeah, again, continues to be pretty active. Okay, finally the block. But really not pressured too strongly.
Countered last, right? So usually when that happens, the person that countered that option last has the advantage in the scramble, and Nephew is taking.
That's a challenge. Okay, so sweep activate. Okay, press the light punch for sure. So it's not like Samurai's giving up on this activity.
That was probably supposed to be a teleport.
That's right. Okay, so James says that's probably supposed to be a teleport. My guess is that this is probably supposed to be just input DP on either side, and then I don't know which buttons he tends to use for EX. Yeah. I think this is probably just him like down forward, down back, down forward, down back, down forward, down back, and maybe just getting a little execution error and it comes out as half circle, something like that. So probably just supposed to have been the escape tool, you know, EX DP. Could have been teleport, a little bit less likely, I think, just because teleport is not great. Especially against a Colleen with V-trigger, right? She's going to be able to punish that for sure with the EX, with the V-trigger dash. If not worse, you know, I don't know what she would do, but she has such mobility in V-trigger that just seems like a really bad idea. So EXDP, actually, would it have worked here?
Right now, gonna get again hit by this big old combo. The damage which
No, I think it actually would not have. I think Nephew was blocking, and he did, again, kind of block button. Very common. Yeah, you might call it an option select, kind of. You are holding down back. Press either a button or a throw, like we saw previously. And if the opponent did something that is invincible, or whatever, something that's very fast, even if it's a 3-frame jab, then you'll block. But if they don't do anything, then you'll get your grab or your button or whatever.
But why wouldn't that have come out? Maybe.
So, yeah, I'm gonna chalk that up to an execution error again from Samurai. It just happened a few times in this set, these last two sets. Oh, Nephew. Nephew has been around, yeah, for some years in Street Fighter V. From the upper Midwest. And he's been in NorCal now for a little while. He and Punk moved there not super long ago.
I'm trying to figure out what he was trying to do. He landed with an EX fireball, and that's so weird. What was he trying to do?
It was EX red fireball, right?
Yeah.
It might have been like you might try to do DP on both sides, and he got the input mixed up.
Shoutouts to Zangief's
Maybe it was just
temporary name during development of Street Fighter II, Vodka Gobalski. What a reference.
DP and it came
Ancient
out of a
reference.
fireball somehow.
Yeah, not sure, to be honest.
So 1-0 for Nephew, and that game was super back and forth. And again, I don't really feel like I could say that either side had a significant advantage, but it did feel, boy, there are these moments where it just seems like Samurai is not quite there at the end, where his execution's not quite there, or his awareness is not quite as there as it usually is, and that's really uncommon for this guy. I'm serious, that really was Geef's temporary name during development.
That's when he's at his most powerful.
Back to the wall, Samurai is how he got
Jumping out after medium, very interesting. Okay, that is, I like it. I mean, it's a bet. Does he get it? Yeah, that's good. That's good.
In that first game was the media attack.
Okay, this time the grab works, right? Then very light.
All of the medias have been perfectly executed.
Gotta respect those air fireballs.
And now we have a situation again. We've been here before where one player has the advantage.
So any stray hit from either of the players can take
Oh, was he frozen? Really?
the little hit from either of the players can.
Okay, so this at the end here. So there are all these fireballs. Fireball again. Fireball again. Whiff the short. Dash. But not just dash. Dash. Little movement there. We'll present a little funky option. And I wonder if that's, was that a block briefly? Let's see if I can we see like dash? Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, so he blocks, maybe just in case of like a crouching jab or something. As a response. So I like, yeah, super close match. It's just, it's not the kind of match that you can say, oh yeah, this player learned all the things and did completely change their playstyle, because it's not like that. It's a very much more interesting back and forth.
From Street Fighter. So I mean, look, he is the reverse OCV master from Street Fighter League. So does he just want to go down 0-2?
Both presenting really unusual timings here. EX. God, so strong. And because it was counter hit, he didn't get the grab. Okay, yeah, that is cool. That is cool. So this is a back throw. Medium. Now, blocking this would be a bummer. EX. It's super plus. I'm looking it up. +8. Right? You do not want to take that. So the read on that is to jump. Now, if that had been, you know, maybe that's regular red fireball, he gets hit. If that, not one, maybe not regular, maybe, you know, if that's, yeah, if some other red fireball, maybe. Light, I don't know. Light's punishable. I mean, it could also just have been medium into nothing. Medium by itself is not punishable. Actually, maybe at that range it is. It's -4. I'm gonna look it up. Yeah. Yeah, it's -4. So maybe at this point blank range. Did I already miss it? Is this, am I too late here? Oh yeah, okay. Come on, guys. Here it is. Grab. So this is pretty well point blank. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, okay, it is actually. I see. I see. Oh wow, what an option. I love this jump. Yeah, I mean, think about it, right? So imagine that this is not V-trigger, so these are not like free plus frame fireballs. A fireball point blank is punishable. -6. If it's medium into EX regular fireball, that's plus, but that you'd just be stuck there. And so holding up forward seems like it might be okay. And since it's medium kick and it's going to be punishable by Colleen right there, by most characters, you know, maybe you can make the bet that Samurai's not going to not cancel it. Huh. I think this is a very interesting option here. I like this. I like this. So it would have had to have been an unsafe mix-up for Samurai to have not done something after the medium here. Either not canceling it or done a punishable fireball on block. I'm into it. I'm into it. I think this is a really good jump.
Samurai is how he got out of winner's bracket, remember, against Nephew.
Hey, thanks for the subs, guys. Vodka. Ah, Magnegro, what's up, dude?
Job here, right? Because we saw the detriment in that first game was the media attack.
Yeah, that grab again. We talked about that before. And then pretty light. This is something that I'm super impressed by. Nephew does quite a bit as well. We've seen that now 2 or 3 times, at least 2 that I can recall, where he chases a jump back. Right, so he uses the mobility of his character. If somebody tries to jump away, you don't want to be there. You don't want to be in this range versus Colleen with her great buttons. You want to get out of there. Set it back to your situation. And so Nephew has seen that enough that he's ready for it, and he chases with. We've seen him do it with stand jab and with stand fierce now.
Those air fireballs, and now no health left for Nephew, but also no health left for Samurai. So any stray hit from either of the players can take it. Ooh,
But still, right, Samurai taking the offensive end there. Man, what a back and forth round. We just looked at that round for like half an hour, I felt, but there was a lot to look at in there.
For just a tiny bit, Samurai on the board.
Woo!
Wake up jabs though. Talked about it before. Samurai has been exploiting the lack of meat.
Oh, dude, that was so good. He triggered it. That was amazing. We'll have to go back and look at that. That's not easily done. Great walk under by Nephew, and now we get to see this corner pressure that we've seen before. Oh no, quick rise or anything, back roll. Delay again. Huh. Oh gee, oh, did he not have EX? Oh no, well,
he doesn't have anything to catch that in that scenario.
Yeah, but it's okay. He's away from the stun, and he's got all this meter.
Wow. So Samurai was able to weather the storm. He was almost dead. He was like a pixel away. Again, the movement into anti-air, genius. Beautiful stuff.
Oh my!
Okay. All right. So we've now seen medium into jump back a couple of times, and it worked out. What a jump. Nephew. There was no threat of demon before, right, when he did the jump back? Not that I can recall. I think there was no super yet. I'm just going to go back and look. Nah, he never did. Let's see. Nah. Okay, yeah. Huh, interesting. Okay, yeah. So let's take a look at this when Samurai walks forward and procs the EX Parabellum.
Samurai on the board.
A little bit later.
Wake up jabs though. Talked about it before. Samurai has been exploiting the.
Okay, so what's the reason that Nephew would do this light kick here? Here? Here. The reason is that he's hoping to catch Samurai moving. He's hoping to catch a walk-in, he's hoping to catch a dash. Maybe he can counter poke and, I don't know, something else. Crouch medium kick maybe. He's hoping that Samurai puts his hurt box in there, just in short. And so that hasn't actually happened very often. They have not been like buffering things like that terribly often in neutral. They've been more hit confirming, to be honest, but that's probably the reason why the stand short comes out, and Samurai, I feel like instantly notices that. Is that true? Could he really have just like seen it once and like, oh, that's what you're going for? Oh, he did it a couple of times, huh? Yeah, that was it. And then, so the way to deal with this, sometimes that can feel oppressive because it can feel as the person who's not putting out the buffer that you can't do anything anymore, right? Well, if I press this button, it's just gonna get hit and I'm gonna get EX'd, right away. One of the great ways to deal with that, especially if you have a character with fast movement, is to just walk in and block. And people who are buffering in that way are just gonna be doing it whether it hits or is blocked, because they're assuming that they're doing it at a range where it won't come out on block. They just won't be there to have you block it. But if you walk in and block at the right timing, then you can actually proc that. And I like that. Right? It's a very classic technique, but super fast recognition by Samurai. That's what he should do.
That's going to be a big punish.
Punish off the other side, and now in the corner. Gets the meaty. Samurai waking up with buttons.
Yeah, this time, disciplined about it, but that just gives her the target
Dang, that was super close to death.
Anything to catch that in that scenario.
Yeah, but it's
and then the jump, and by the way, not just the jump that we've seen in some other situations. Now, we've seen cross-up jump. Earlier, I guess it was previous set, we saw several jumps maybe from Samurai. We did see him do the dive kick not too long ago, and Nephew actually walked under that and punished that.
From the stun. And
So now Samurai is just making regular jumps happen all of a sudden.
All on deck. Oh, nice. That was so beautiful. Oh, that's not gonna kill.
Wow. Wow. What a jump. What a jump. Now there is... Okay, so say you're Nephew here.
Not gonna kill.
First of all, that was wake up medium kick? I don't think I registered that the first time I saw this.
That's not gonna kill.
This is wake up medium kick. If actually this had just been wake up demon, it would have worked. But, you know, what are you gonna do? So if this is regular fireball here, that means that there's no more trigger at this point. And there's not much of a penalty for holding up back, I guess. You just are in a block string maybe? Do you think he meant to just do wake up demon?
Oh, nice. That was so beautiful. Oh, that's not gonna kill.
I don't know, guys. I think this is pretty standard. Medium kick, V-skill cancel, then cancel out of the V-skill with demon. I think this, he meant to do this, certainly. It's just a, I mean, it's the wrong read, right?
Oh, nice. That was so beautiful. Oh, that's not gonna kill.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh my goodness. Jump out.
Just a really good defensive call by a Nephew.
Perfectly.
That might have actually been a little too early.
Yeah, to get it right with wake up stand medium kick, pretty cool. Because that's a lot of frames that he's stealing there. It's not like it's a bad stand medium kick, but that's, I would guess that's like 5 or 6. Yeah, it's 5 frames. So that's, you know, some that Samurai has stolen there. And if that had just been wake up demon, yeah, it would have worked, but hey, you can't get them all right. Cool. No way he would have woken up with MK? I think he clearly did it. I think that's pretty clear that he just did wake up medium kick into demon. And yeah, you're hoping that the opponent will hang out. You're hoping that they'll block. You're hoping that they will press a button because they're going to try to punish your unsafe medium kick. Yeah, that makes sense. But I really, really like to jump back yet again. So there are a couple of defensive jumps that I've really liked from Nephew.
I've still been in block stun, and if you're still in block stun, you can always jump away.
Oh man.
Oh, sick.
Oh man.
So there goes all those resources too, Samurai.
The chase again, that's so good. What awareness, honestly, by Nephew.
Trying to do those setups in the future a little bit harder.
Pressure. Ooh, really? Just stood still? Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay.
And then did he not have V-Trigger? He must have. Yeah, I'm a little surprised that this was not V-Trigger canceled. But, yeah.
Stun. Oh, nice. Okay. Gets out of there, so the stun isn't the danger anymore. Gets the throw. Samurai now. Gotta find a way to
those
drain the
fireballs.
rest of his life.
Oh, dang.
Gets the
Then what's funny is that these players are both so strong defensively, and they've both made such interesting calls defensively, waking up with buttons, waking up with backdashes, waking up with jumps into EX Fireball, waking up with just holding up forward. Sometimes they take the bait on grabs and grabs decks. You know, sometimes you got to do it. You can't never do it. That's pretty tough. And even players like them take the bait now and then. We've seen it from Samurai too. Oh, dude, that would be so amazing if Nephew did a meaty counter. I can imagine Samurai doing that. If Samurai was a Colleen player, I could imagine him doing that. You could also just stick a button into them and get a counter hit, right? There's no need for that, but it would be hilarious, though. It would be hilarious.
Here in the final set.
Man. Incredibly close matches so far. Samurai
What a back and forth set. This is so good.
Tying it back up. You know we're gonna get right back into it, man. These players are playing so well. You can see why they're the ones in grand finals today. It's immaculate play from both sides.
It was a really stacked tournament. Definitely.
My heart
It's
can't
good.
take this, Rich.
Ooh.
Yo, I'm too old for this.
Ooh, medium wake up, huh? And look at this, not much life. Yeah, what a chase. We've seen that half a dozen times now. So good. You really got to be aware. And then hold on a second. What happened? Samurai got hit by Parabella. I mean, I'm looking up the frame data. There's certainly she has the advantage here. I actually don't know what it is just on hit. Let me see. What did he do? Crouching medium kick. +2 or +4, I guess. One of those two. I don't know which. +2. So this man was stealing a big time turn. So +2 into stand fierce is a 6 frame gap. Crouching medium kick. Wait, really? Or is this the medium parabellum and it's +4?
Wow, waking up with buttons from Samurai. Actually did trade. Now the stun is there. Once he closes the distance via granny step.
No. Wow. Huh. That was medium? Okay. So in that case, that's +4. And Fierce is going to win regardless of... Well, stand jab maybe, but certainly versus a crouching medium kick, yeah. Why? Crouching medium kick? So in this instance, it may be that Samurai expected a shimmy, and so if Nephew takes a step backwards, Samurai will beat that with the low, probably gonna do whatever activate, right? And now he gets to party. So it's a pretty big read, but you know, I'm down with it. I'm into it. I mean, I thought that was light too, but I'm not used to seeing the difference between medium and light parabellum. In any case, right? Pretty hard read by Samurai. I like it. I'm not opposed to that kind of read. And he's been, in general, both players really, have had these kind of active defense. It's been relatively rare they just take the bait on like a grab. They're more often moving, buttons, whatever. They're active. And that's how, it's a big part of how Samurai won that first set, so I'm not opposed to that.
Towards the corner in this game so far, going all Nephew. +1 again.
Look at this
on that crouching
range.
medium.
And very little movement by Samurai. Oh
Too far
no!
away for that to connect,
Dude,
which
Nephew
means
found a
Nephew
good
gets the
spot.
free punish.
And we've seen that spot many, many times, but Samurai...
Can Samurai escape?
Dude, he has again
Nephew is
tried to
gonna go
challenge.
up two-
So think back to that first set where it seemed like a big thing that he changed was that he was more active defensively. In the first set in Grand Finals, they were both that same way. And in the first game in Grand Finals, of second set in Grand Finals, they were both still that way, active. And here, in these last 2 rounds, Nephew has controlled the corner with excellent timings. And he's kind of putting it all together because on the one hand, Samurai right now is actually playing patiently, right? Here's Samurai.
+1 again on that crouching
Just kind of
medium.
trying, he's just blocking, right? Occasional buttons, doesn't have the range right.
Away for that to connect, which means Nephew gets the
But
free
not,
punish.
you wouldn't call this
Here
like
we go,
terribly
close
active
the
defense.
stun.
And then when he does try it, he gets busted for it. So Nephew has found these right moments a couple of times in this game. Good work. Good work. But again, I'm not like upset about this. He tried sweep activate probably. Let's see.
And on that crouching medium kick. Oh, too far away for that to connect, which means Nephew gets
Yeah,
the
he
free
has
punish.
trigger now, so it's
Here we
probably
go, close.
sweep activate. Yep. And yeah, I mean, I get it. I get it. Again, just like before, we talked about how after the Parabellum, Nephew, if he had done walk back to bait a throw, then the wake up crouching medium kick from Samurai, well, not wake up in that situation, just reset crouching medium kick would have made sense. It would have worked. But Nephew had the moment right to keep pressure going in that instance and in this instance as well. So in both of these, Samurai's trying to get the right read defensively. It's still that active sort of stuff. It's just he doesn't pick the right options here.
The stun. Can Samurai escape?
Shoutouts to
No.
Nephew getting these
Go
little instances right. And sometimes it can really feel that as close and as long as these sets are, we're now going to be going into the third or fourth game, I guess, of second set of Grand Finals. They've already played 2 full sets. It can still feel like a result hinges on these little moments. And not just because it wins a round, but because it sends a message. And now I'm really curious to see whether Samurai continues to do that kind of active defense. He's the kind of guy it's pretty tough to convince him not to do things. But at the end of the last 2 rounds, whereas in the first set, he won the end of rounds by like waking up with buttons and jump EX fireball and stuff. In this, he lost because of it. So maybe he now needs to make the counter idea of, okay, well, looks like Nephew's going to be pressuring a little bit more here. Maybe I do have to pay a little bit more attention. Maybe I do have to give a little bit more respect.
He's most powerful when he's on the verge of elimination. He's been that way forever. He definitely uses that mental.
Look, man, everybody wants sweep activate, right?
He has over so many players.
Especially if that had been, like, imagine the stand shorts just a few frames later. That's at that point it's a crush counter, and now you get to set up pretty mean stuff.
And again, he needs 2 straight games to do so here.
Is this a little? Did they take a little break here? Okay, yeah. So 2-1 Nephew now.
Definitely not gonna see him switch to Ryu. That is not gonna happen. Okay, it is Florida. Okay, coming from Florida.
All right. Either way, Bay Area representative now trying to represent NA West here in Capcom.
Background house is doing some work, that's for sure.
All throughout his fighting game career.
Do you see this right now from Nephew?
Huh. Very, very fireball heavy now. But still has walked himself into the corner, and that's been something we've been seeing certainly in this set, certainly in the previous set, and at the beginning of the first set from Samurai. Ooh, that was cool. Wow, okay, nice. Oh no! Oh no! Okay, well.
Nephew didn't get too much off of that, but he does have his V-trigger active now.
Trying to catch that
Samurai definitely on the defense here. Yeah, finally the anti-air comes. We have seen Samurai jump a lot. Yeah, maybe not a lot, but okay, then he does it again. Ah, beautiful.
From Samurai.
That was really nice confirm. Oh, and the double
nice.
leg kick
Yeah,
to the back
yeah,
block.
nice. All right, so Samurai gets in there. So his offense in this situation, there are actually more jumps in this round. It's a long round, actually. Yeah, very consistent that Samurai's been pushed back into the corner. And maybe even saying that's wrong. It feels like he's not super bothered by it. In general, the rounds and matches have still been close, even though he's done that often. Why is her V triggered 2 bars? Yeah, it's a good one. It's a good one. Personally, I think that's cool. I think it's good that some characters have strong 2-bar V triggers. Because it's just unique. It's just a little bit rare in the game. So I'm cool for the diversity of that. Ah, beautiful. We've seen that a few times. Oh no, probably thought he had the confirm, and then what was this? Was it like strong jab? It was some weird series, yeah. Huh.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, Nephew didn't get too much off of that, but he does have his V-trigger active now.
Yeah, jump again. No fireball that time, so Samurai definitely figuring stuff out. I love these jumps. I love these jumps. The ground is so threatening for Samurai, where Nephew can punish fireballs pretty easily. He can do dash in and harass low pretty easily. He can harass with a throw from pretty fast, pretty far. Ground's not an easy place to be. But it does seem like where Nephew's had most of his focus, so Samurai's been able to jump more often than I think I would expect. Then maybe Nephew expecting air demon flip grab. Or demon flip grab, I should say.
was really nice confirm. Oh, and the double
Beautiful.
leg kick into the back.
Beautiful. So stand short, meaty stand short. Yep.
Really nice
Walk back
confirm.
slightly.
Oh, and the double leg kick into the back.
And we've seen,
quad.
interesting to end on this because in the last game, the last 2 rounds of it ended with Samurai kind of being in the opposite situation and trying the low, expecting a walk back. This time he does his own walk back. Very cute. Yeah, her and Cody, both very strong, 2-bar V-triggers. I think that's cool, personally. I don't need that to change. And they're fun V-triggers, so I think that's fine. Back when they nerfed Minot's V-trigger to 3 bars, I thought that was a bummer. Because it was cool. Nerf something else about the character, you know? Well, they did, but nerf more about the rest of the character and not like the very interesting, unique, fun part. In my opinion. Anyway, obviously they didn't do that.
Nephew trying to take a throw. Samurai now right back in the match.
Here we go. Right. Samurai, of course, his power went out earlier. Had to go to Nephew and Punk's place to even play this.
Yeah,
But I did think it was right when they nerfed Abigail's V-trigger to 3 bars. Okay, so a jump over. We have seen that so rarely, and from a character whose jump-ins are like Colleen's, you know, jump roundhouse? Okay. We did see some in the first, I don't know. It was either the first or the second set, but it feels like it's been a while since we saw that. Probably intended air grab up there for Nephew, who is moving around in a little bit of an unusual way right now. In time? Yes. Oh no. Oh yeah, you're not gonna let him get away with that at this level of play. Oh, and that's what I was talking about, right? You have to be aware so quickly of her ground approach. She's there super fast. Dang. What a threat. What a threat. Yeah, Abigail. The Abigail one, I was cool with the change. Even though I played that character, I was like, maybe it doesn't need to be like this. When they buffed him at the beginning of whatever season it was that season 3? It was a while ago at this point. Yeah, I was playing Abigail. I was an Abigail man at the time. And I was like, I don't know if that's necessary, and then they actually did end up nerfing him.
Samurai has lost power at home.
I thought that was reasonable.
Power here in the match as well.
Yeah, that's been something that's been coming up more. Very nice from Nephew. EX Vanity through. He's just taking a guess on the EX, and then if he sees the fireball, then he does the follow-up. Pretty cool.
And here we go, the buffer off of the stand heavy punch.
EX fireball there, wow. Huh. So we've seen this situation a lot, right? We've seen Samurai caught in the corner a lot. Deciding whether to be active or not. He does, and it was right.
Samurai trying to figure out his way out.
He's a hard man to throw off of his game. He really is.
That back heavy kick from Colleen,
it's not like he's obstinate in a negative way. He's not stubborn. He's consistent. I think I would say.
Something Nephew wants to throw out a lot.
There's a lot of roundhouses out there. Yeah, wow, okay.
Wow, what a whip punish on it this time.
Do it again, do it again. Gotta block the hail, and here comes the mix-up.
EX again there.
Oh, not this time.
Dude, it's so rare to see somebody actually punish air fireball. It's amazing.
The throw, one more is gonna do it.
Raw activate. Ah, right, okay. Right.
Not enough to kill.
She still got it. Yeah. So now 10 seconds left. Samurai with the life lead. I don't remember. Oh, I remember this. That's right. Yep, I remember this. I remember this. Wow. So Nephew had the read that there would not be a fireball there because of fireball, or else maybe just the wrong timing. Maybe he thought he could hit it on the way. But whatever it was, wrong timing to bring out the hail.
It's 2-2. It is 2.
And I get why Nephew would want to do this, of course. It's a way to create pressure for himself. It would make Samurai block for a little bit, and then maybe on Nephew's part he could mount some sort of offense, but just at the wrong moment. Wow, what a long round. So much stuff happened in this round. There's so much to pay attention to in this match. Like, again, this is not like some match where one player gets dunked and the other one's just like, all right, what do I need to change? And then they do like one change. Sometimes you see that even at very high levels of play. But here, there's so many little things going on constantly. Roundhouse all the time. Fierce just when it happens to be the right call. EX after the throw tech, no button there to interrupt it.
Yes. Samurai's turn after a block dive kick like that.
And then the challenge, right? The actual active defense.
Samurai trying to figure out his way out of the corner right now. That heavy kick, that back heavy kick from Colleen, just there to control.
Look at this. And keep in mind that throughout, I mean, we've seen this so many times. Nephew has been at this range, right here. And Samurai's thrown a fireball. Nephew has done activate into V-trigger dash punch. A bunch.
There to control the
and so Samurai's bringing it out rarely, right? Okay, he guesses right a couple of times as to when Nephew would walk in or when Nephew would not be able to react in time.
That's something Nephew wants to throw out a lot.
Right, so in closer a little bit, we're seeing these fireballs here. Here, we're not. So many little implied threats constantly.
Do it again. Gotta block the hail, and here comes the mix-up.
And then the actual punish.
No weird hitboxes this time. The throw, one more is gonna do it.
So now it's a big life lead, right? This was on reaction, wasn't it? Let's see. So Fierce blocked, and then we've seen a lot of times when Nephew has done a Fierce into another Fierce or a roundhouse. Activates, right, okay. So if you're Samurai here, you now see, all right, she's doing something. She's doing something. And you bring out your invincible DP. Oh yeah. Which gives you great pressure, and it was invincible, and now you get the corner. And, wow. And now, of course, Samurai does not want to just throw a regular fireball for fear of getting V-trigger dashed, and now that's gone, and now it's... Boy, this... Ooh, man, oh man. Man, oh man. If that had been just a little bit of a different timing, maybe he again... Imagine this fireball comes out any earlier or any later. Any earlier, and the hail call from Nephew negates the fireball. Any later, and the hail from Nephew hits Akuma first. Wow, what a little set of timings right there.
More V-trigger for Nephew, no more ways to make it through those projectiles. He doesn't have EX Vanity step either.
Yikes. Oh man, he really threaded the needle on that one. He really did. Shout outs to Samurai. What a match. What a game. There's so much to see in that individual game. That one game. Impossible to get it all. Super impressive as well that both players are aware of all the things happening. And look, I mean, before we just start this last game, I think sometimes people are guilty of sort of overstating all the things that are going on in a fighting game match, especially people who are trying to do a breakdown in the sort of way that I'm doing. You know, we're not playing chess, right? You're not looking 100 moves ahead. I know that, right? You can admit that. But what's fascinating nevertheless is that there are half a dozen things that you're paying attention to at any one time at a high level, and you are trying to fit in not just that, but also the speed of it. You know, the speed is very fast, working very commonly in tenths of a second. Not easy to do.
Whole another game to go through, my friend.
And there was a lot of back and forth in that individual game that was based all around that sort of stuff.
It has come down to the wire here.
Rare to see the error from Samurai. Okay, I love the jump back. The jump out as well. It's movement, a lot of movement here from Samurai. Yeah, backdashing again.
Samurai just wants that fireball range back, wants to threaten him with either fireball or DP.
And Nephew was always trying to chase, so Samurai has pretty often moved himself into the corner. Nephew's chased each time. Wow, grab, okay.
And what a time to get it right here in the last game of Grand Finals.
Stayed above. Love it. There have been so many V-trigger dashes into anti-airs. Okay.
But here we go, that crush counter, and Colleen always gets the full.
Oh no! Certainly not expected, or not intended.
But Nephew's okay. He's okay.
No cancel?
That stand fierce doesn't have that icicle tip anymore. No V trigger.
That shield is so good.
Using those EX air
Well, I guess they
models,
both got
nice
good
jump
options
over
there.
them. Oh, but the EX
No,
air
no, no,
model's not
yeah.
gonna fully connect. That's the weakness of it.
James. So now we have that same kind of situation as last round. Nephew's got to make it in. He's got to hit a couple more times. He's not bringing out the hails anymore.
Just waiting for, Nephew's waiting for a dash
And Samurai
you can tell.
is trying to just bring out these individual things. Yeah, just all he needs is the one more, right? So he's got this style now of let's just trade with anything. Anything is fine.
Here. Does get a jump over this time. No flinching from Samurai either.
Again,
Oh my god. You know, again, like, it's that same sort of situation where Nephew is just hoping that Samurai, A, doesn't throw a fireball, B, that he did it at a time where his hail would hit Akuma first, or where, you know, usually you try to do this on reaction, but maybe you can absorb the fireball with your own hail startup. God, look at this. This is like a mirror image of the last round. Mirror image of it.
avoids that. Oh, same thing! Samurai's our tournament point! The fireball again! Oh my
So
god!
Nephew won the first set of grand finals in, again, if you just look at the score, a blow up, 3-0. But like we were saying, that's really not how it went. It really didn't glow like a blow up. It was not actually lopsided. It was actually close all the time. And but for maybe an execution error, maybe like a one occasional lapse in strategic awareness on Samurai's side, like, but for a couple of things, could have gone the other way. It could have been Samurai winning. So somehow Samurai has now moved into match point, tournament point after all this. What a back and forth this is. Yeah, James is freaking out there. Somebody asked earlier, why is Nathan not there anymore? It's because of that. Okay, finally we see this. I feel like it took 1,000 years to see EX anti-air counter. And forward fierce, which we've almost never seen. In fact, I wonder if that was a view reversal. Nah, that seems even less likely.
No whiff punish right there from Samurai.
Huh. Preemptive. Wow. That is one of the very few rounds, very, very few rounds that ends early. Yeah, right. Even though their rounds are so frenetic, so many rounds end near timeout. There's so much stuff going on, and yet these are two explosive characters. And Akuma doesn't even have very much life, right? He's stuck. And yet most of these rounds have gone late, even still. This is one of the few that's actually ended in the 70s.
I cannot believe this. Oh, crush counter here, but it did get an air hit. So no
Yeah, these big things. And I wonder too if Nephew has not been doing that just to save it. Something people do sometimes. They don't bring out options until they think it's super important to. So why the forward fierce? What was he looking for specifically here? Was there a low? What was he expecting? Oh, he just kind of does it, huh? And then backdash. I feel like you don't see that move terribly often at high level. The character just has so many things going for him. I feel like many other characters, if they had that move, they would use it more frequently, but there's like not a great reason to. Yeah, you get into good damage from it, but it's -2. Remember when that was plus, when this character first came out? Although he didn't get as much of a combo out of it. But yeah, you see it pretty rarely, and yet there it was from Samurai. Trying to jump out a couple of times. He already got parried, this time he gets air grabbed. So Nephew's getting the right reads for sure. Yeah, there's a great example of him just getting the right reads. Super good stuff.
We are going to a final round, James.
Here we go.
They went down to the very end. What a match.
Remember, second place gets nothing. It is down to this.
Yeah, this is a winner takes
It's
all
true,
time
second place
here.
got nothing.
Winner
Just recognition.
Capcom Cup.
Samurai with just
Underneath final.
Samurai with just a slight advantage on the meter right now. He's got 2 bars. He basically has a 2-bar lead right now.
Very fireball heavy at that range. And throughout all of the matches that they've played, ooh, weird. We've seen only just a couple of successful jump forwards out of Nephew. In fact, he's very rarely even tried it. He's been more grounded. Nice.
Beautiful timing right
Oh,
there.
this is so dangerous. You could die so easily here. If you're Samurai here, you're anything.
Right there.
Yeah.
Gets the throw, gets the stun.
All that time, all the activity that we saw out of Samurai, we saw wake up jab, we saw jumps, we saw backdashes, we saw EX air fireballs, all sorts of stuff.
Showing up in December
And
this year.
at the very end here, this situation, look at this. This is actually Samurai with big life lead. So this begins by Samurai going EX. Nephew's response is trigger. And it's still a mix-up here. Maybe Samurai does demon flip punch. Hey, maybe Nephew does counter. Maybe Samurai does grab. Maybe Nephew does buttons underneath it. And instead Samurai does air fireball, and then that gives Nephew his way in. So it was definitely, you know, maybe EX air fireball would have worked versus counter. You know, it's just still a mix-up here, and Samurai gets it wrong, but he actually created this negative situation for himself, unintentionally, of course, by doing this EX. EX. That now Nephew reacts to. So whereas commonly that's a great move, EX demon flip, still good even after its slight nerfs. But in this instance, it ends up being a downside for Samurai. And now he's caught here, right? Okay, there's the activity. There's the activity. They both get busted. And then, okay, fine. I'll hang out, right? Okay, hey, I just saw Nephew press fierce, press fierce. All right, I'll stick still. I'll ride this one out, and then I'll have V meter after I block a couple things, and then I get going, right? Well,
Gets the throw, gets the stun. How much damage can you do
yeah,
in this
shout outs to
situation?
Nephew for
Can the
sealing the
skill?
deal right there.
Is this gonna be enough? I think it is. I think Nephew is going to be the Capcom Cup competitor showing up in December this year.
What a set. What a match, right? 3 sets there. There was the initial winner's semi set that was 3-2, in which Nephew was up 2-0, and then Samurai made the complete comeback to win 3-2. Then there was the first set of grand finals, which Nephew won 3-0, but actually was a little closer than that. And then there was last game, last round, final set that Nephew won. And I think it's really interesting that the entire time there were all these back and forths. It's a great match because it's not the kind of match that you can easily look at from an analysis perspective and single out the thing that changed, that led one player to win. It's not uncommon that you can do that. You know, you can look to like one moment. Oh, here's the moment where player A convinced player B not to do option X anymore. Here's the moment where player B tried to do option Y, and player A already was ready for it. Like that kind of thing is pretty common. But in this match, in these sets that they had, there was so much back and forth. There was so much little change. And what's interesting too is that both players came into it with ideas that were successful, just in different times. So at the beginning, you might say that Samurai had some ideas that worked out long term. Think back to the first set. The opening of it, he lost 2-0, but during that set, he did things that were later important, that gave him games, that won him games. And at the end of that first set, where he was like turning it on, all of a sudden wake up, EX, air fireball, sorts of stuff like that. That kind of thing, yeah, it worked out at that moment. But just at the end of this game, right, until the final throw, he did try again stuff, and he got knocked down twice because of it. Right? He was active at the end there, and it just wasn't at the right time. So the ideas were there, they were formed the whole time, and the question was, who brings out which at which time? And that is that kind of match is real hard. It's hard to win for both players. but it's a blast to watch, right? From the viewer perspective. Really, really fun to watch. That kind of back and forth, so much to learn from it on either side. I am really happy to have watched that. Happy for Nephew that he won. And he said so on Twitter that the tournament was so stacked that he like almost couldn't believe that he was the one who came out of it. But he played extremely well the whole time. His matches versus Samurai for me were the highlight. Those are some of the best within top 8 matches that I've seen for a while in Street Fighter V. Street Fighter V has gotten to the point where I think it more consistently has really, really strong matches. The players have settled down, you know. It's not uncommon in games like this where you go through a phase of the game comes out, it seems like it's about neutral and footsies and stuff, and then people optimize their wild shenanigans. And then it's like, oh, this game is just about like the mix-up, the Street Fighter RPS, and it's just, oh, who guesses right at which time? How many different games and series have gone through that moment? And then players understand defensively, and now it's, okay, sure, that stuff can happen, but how do you get there, right? That's where many different series have ended up over the years. SF4, Marvel, Third Strike ended up like that. MK has ended up like that in the past. That kind of stuff, not infrequent. And I think Street Fighter V is at that stage now. It's at that awesome final stage where you can see the zaniness, definitely, but getting there is hard. Now you'd actually need like good footsies to make it happen. Now you really need to make good neutral decisions to get there rather than just being like, I have Aegis or whatever, right? Not like that, no. Not like that. Good job to the players. That was a lot of fun. Real pleasure to be the voice of the press box up here in California Memorial Stadium. This is a newly built press box, of course. Here we are in Berkeley, California, where there's no coronavirus. Nobody knew that, but it turns out that it doesn't exist here. So that's why the stadium feels as if they can operate, and all the people, it's great. You know, it's like a miracle. You walk in and boom, it's gone. And so luckily everybody here can be safe and have a good time at Cal Memorial Stadium. That's it for the analysis portion of this stuff. Let's head back down to the field. Very nicely done, David, with the call up there. Congrats again to Nephew for his win over Samurai in the CPT. This means that he'll be at Capcom Cup later this year, to the extent that that happens. Of course, in California Memorial Stadium, there's no COVID-19, but it's not going super great in other parts of this country that Berkeley's in. So we'll see if it happens. Hey, maybe. We got that going for us. Again, shout outs to the players. Good job to the commentators. That was fun. I've been looking at Street Fighter. I've been looking at Street Fighter V exclusively over the past couple of weeks on Monday Morning Quartersback, but that's not the only kind of game that I'd like to look at. I'd like to look at Mortal Kombat. I want to look at Killer Instinct. So I'm thinking about inviting other people onto the show for Killer Instinct, for example. Mortal Kombat I could just probably take care of, but Killer Instinct is the game that I'm like relearning. So I think it'd be cool to have somebody else sitting here, or maybe even sitting here, right in the press box with me. Look forward to that. That should be fun. Weekends that have CPT, I would like to do Monday Morning Quarterback the day after that, so people can just sort of expect that it will happen. But if big stuff happens in MK or KI, as did in fact happen for KI this weekend, I would like to look at that as well. So that's something that we can do up here in the press box. That sounds great, David. I'm looking forward to all that sort of stuff. All right, viewers, thanks for hanging out. Appreciate it. Give us a follow. This will be up on YouTube, but if you're watching on YouTube, check it out when it happens live Monday mornings, 10 a.m. Pacific time on twitch.tv/UltraChenTV. All right. Thanks for the show, David. Good night.